Hey guys, welcome back once again to Tabletop Glory. Today I've got a bit of an interesting model kit for you. I bought this a while back through Amazon and I have no idea what it's called. And rather than doing any research on it, I decided to just have some fun with it. Now my understanding is this is based on some kind of anime, and maybe the model kit existed beforehand, as it seems like there's a whole bunch of models that are in the mecha genre that BanDai makes that don't seem to be affiliated with anything, and there are some that are affiliated with things. This one in particular, like I said, I have no idea what this is from, but I decided I wanted to have some fun with it. So hopefully you guys like what I did with it, and let's see how I got along with it. So first and foremost, we've had some people asking if I can do some more time lapses, and we haven't done any in a while. I normally do it with the camera in this direction facing toward me, as I tend to be reaching all over the desk for assembly, but as you can see in this picture, I have a lot of projects going on all at once, and most of my workspace is just filled to the brim with stuff. I really need to get this under control. So maybe next time I will do one from our normal angle, but it's a bit difficult for me to work with the camera in front of me. I am working on setting up a separate space for assemblies and doing an entirely different way of recording there so that you guys can get a more interesting view for these types of videos. But in any case, let's go ahead and get along and get this high speed rolling. Now, like I said at the beginning of this video, I really don't know if this is from an anime or a manga or anything like that, so I wanted to keep the color schemes vaguely similar to what it is on the box art. I took some liberties on some things, as you'll see. However, I had a lot of fun with it irregardless, and I had a bunch of extra decals left over from all the Warhammer stuff that I've done over the years, so I figured why not use some of these waterslide decals here, especially considering this kit didn't come with any, which is very weird for a BanDai kit, but it was a fun little kit. Let's check out how I painted it. So one of the things you'll notice that I do throughout the course of this is I constantly use the flight stand that it comes with to be a painting handle. I attempted to attach this also to a painting handle to kind of keep my hands free from things, and it just doesn't really clip into anything I have. And I was all out of poster putty, so I couldn't stick it down to something, so we're gonna get our hands dirty today. So starting out with some Vallejo primer, this is just their generic black matte primer, and I'm trying to get it all over the model. I had just cleaned up this airbrush and done a really thorough deep cleaning, and for some reason this airbrush, every time I do a thorough cleaning, it never really seems to work right for the first 5 or 6 minutes worth of using it, and then it seems to calm itself down. That's why you can see it's just kind of sputtering all over the model instead of giving me good solid coverage, but it does calm itself down and work for me in the end. Now, if I had been smart about all of this, I would have painted it as I was putting it together, but with this being a kit that I was unfamiliar with, and I wasn't 100% sure what I was planning to do with it once it was together, I just went ahead and put it together. Now, if I were going to paint this properly, I would have taped this all off, but I wanted this matte black to be my tar top, or my deck, or whatever you want to call it, for this aircraft carrier. So by spraying it from underneath like this, it's not only helping me to preserve a lot of the shadows and the nooks and crannies and give a lot more detail, but it's also allowing me to leave that black on the actual decks of the ship, and I don't have to worry about the overspray. Now, I do have to do a bit of cleanup after this, as you will see, but this was a really good, easy way to not have to worry about taping everything off. For those of you who are wondering, we are going to be using Lauren Forest. This is a layer paint from Citadel made by Games Workshop, and the only places we're really reinforcing this color is along the edges of all of the decks to ensure that we get nice good coverage, as well as on some of the leading edges of the end of all of the flight decks. There's a little strip that I feel should still be that green, and it'll add a little bit of pop of color when looking at the model from straight on. While working on this, I tried to decide what kinds of decals I was going to want to put on this and where. I knew I wanted a lot of brighter colors, and by looking at the box art we can see a lot of line work done to kind of indicate to the ships where they should be taking off and landing from. And I did want to mimic a bit of that with my final design, and as you'll see, I kind of started in that direction but then quickly abandoned it and went in a different direction, and kind of almost gave it a vaguely pirate ship feel, you know, low profile, not lots of bright colors, and I just left the green the way it was because I wanted it to be recognizable for anyone who was aware of the series. But I really enjoyed a lot of the process of just picking out what was going to go where, and just kind of going along and doing very basic weathering on this. It was really nice to be able to do some really simple weathering and have it go quite a long ways with a model of this size. Normally with the bigger models that I tend to work with, doing little bits of weathering is just the first stage, whereas in the case of something this small, it was the first and last, and that was kind of a nice change of pace. One of the little touches that I like to add to any kind of flight deck or any kind of tar top for small scale, especially something this small, is to add just a little bit of color. In this case, I went with gray. Now you could use blues, you could use greens, anything real dark similar to black. And if you're going to go closer to the gray that I'm using, you want to go really light with this. But essentially, we just want to dry brush a little on here and there, and we want to make sure that we're focusing our dry brushing in this back and forth motion from the bow to the stern of the ship, and we're doing that to kind of encourage the wear and tear look that would be from multiple ships taking off and landing in the same zones over and over and over again. And on some of those bigger panels that I imagine are some kind of elevator door, I kind of went ahead and focused a little bit of weathering in those places just to make it look like ships have been moving around in those places quite often. Now moving on to panel liner, I knew I wanted to add a little pop of color and really darken up a lot of the panel lines. Now with the ones on the decks themselves, I could have gone with a much brighter gray, which I do put in a few smaller spots, and I think it would have added a lot of interest and color. However, I really wanted to darken those cracks and crevices compared to the gray dry brushing that we had just done. And I knew that it would help to stand out on the background when we went to go ahead and put in all of the water slide decals that I was wanting to add to the end of this project. Using a mix of two different silvers, specifically Metal Color by Vallejo Silver and Metal Color by Vallejo Gunmetal Gray, I used these two silvers to tackle the guns, the engines, and any other little bits and bobs that I felt needed to be metallic. I didn't want to go crazy overboard, as this is meant to be a warship, so you wouldn't want things to be super highly reflective, but I also feel that with a sci-fi setting there are some things that need to have a metal appearance to them. Now I knew with my engine glow I wanted something that was going to meld well with that green, so I went back to my Citadel paints and grabbed a wash by the name of Fugan Orange. And I use that wash in anywhere where it seems like there's some kind of exhaust port or any kind of engine bay, anything. I feel like a ship of this size is going to be giving off quite a bit of light whether it wants to or not, and anywhere where I need a nice soft fade, I go ahead and use a little bit of water on a brush and fade it out. Then going back in with nylock oxide, I use this on anywhere that looks like a window to me, and I'm just trying to add pops of color all over. So whether it be a window or a torpedo tube, something that is just kind of out there, I wanted to go ahead and add a little pop of color that way, and I felt like nylock oxide was a really great way to do so. Now with this project coming to an end, I decided that I didn't want to go ahead and talk about water slide decals in this video. I feel like it's something that's pretty straightforward, but if it's something that you guys are interested in, maybe it's something that you've never dabbled in, you don't really know a lot about it, go ahead and leave a comment below, and the next time I use some in a project, I will be sure to do a spotlight in the video talking about how to use water slide decals and the methods that work best for me for positioning them, as well as making sure that they don't tear. I know in a previous video when doing a Star Wars snowspeeder, I talked about how to handle rips and tears in your decals to make them look like they're a part of the model, and if you're really interested in that, I can go ahead and put a link here to that video. And there you have it, guys. I know this was a bit of an odd one because some of the major detail parts, like the decals, didn't make it into the video. Again, if you want to see a video about that sort of stuff, let me know. I also have another similar model to this that is in the same line, another spaceship, and I would love to do it for you guys, but if there's a specific thing that you would like me to focus on, or maybe you would like to issue me a challenge for painting that one, leave it in the comments, because I would love to take inspiration from you guys, and I will always give you guys credit for whoever's comment inspires the next video. In any case, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for all the love and support. The fact that I'm starting to see comments on videos, including older videos, has been really, really heartwarming, knowing that you guys are actually going back in and watching some of the backlog. It really does mean a lot to me, and I can't thank you enough for all of the support. Back when I started this channel, I kind of wanted to be the go-to hangout place, and one of the ways that I've been thinking about doing that is perhaps going live here on YouTube. If that's something that you would be interested in watching, let me know. Currently, I go live on TikTok every Saturday night through Sunday morning. Now, I could change that schedule over and also do it here on YouTube at the same time, but I'm curious to know if that's something you guys are interested in. In any case, thank you guys so much for all the love and support, and until next time, may your display case always be filled and your pile of shame never run empty. Until next time.